Hi, welcome to Fig Tree Christian. I'm Pastor Melissa, and I'm so glad that you are here today. As we begin the transition of being on Facebook to being on YouTube, things change just a little bit, but not too much. I think that I finally have a feel for this format right here and how it plays out. Although, if I'm not doing it live on YouTube, because I'm filming this right now as I'm live streaming it over there, I am going to have to change just a little bit for that. Part of the reason that I am transferring over to YouTube is because of what Facebook has been doing. First of all, burying all these beautiful videos that I have been making. They are hidden in the algorithm, and only people who are specifically looking for them are seeing them. So it doesn't hurt me any to move on over to YouTube, where I don't have any views there either. I'm just starting over. And at the same time, Facebook has decided to delete all this history that I have built up here. 10 years of live videos. Can you believe that? Maybe 11 years of live videos. So many videos. I have been able to rip them all up. Facebook, I guess, realizing that there's quite a few content creators out there who have been doing this for quite a long time, because live videos have been around for quite a long time, has given us the opportunity to rip them all up. So I have them. They're in zip drives, and I will look and see what I can put on YouTube and what is worthy of being put on YouTube, or what needs to be edited together to put on YouTube, because this format has changed quite a lot since I first started. I don't know if you remember, but when I first started, it was still here. Here is my basement. This is my basement. But I had kind of a moving thing going on where I would start with a sign that said, "We shall have nothing before your eyes," which was an allusion to the commandment about graven images in a translation of it. And then we would move into a worship where we would pray and we would have a message. And then we would go into a community time where the movement would change again. So where we have community is not where we worship. It had a lot of meaning to it that no one really got. So now it's just this. We've gone from that basement to a church, and then to a coffee house, and now back here. And it's thanks to very generous people that I have this backdrop, that I have this camera, that I have this microphone. I have not done this on my own, nor would I say that I did this on my own. This is with the help of others, and I am so grateful for that. Today's message is not as beautiful. I'm going to talk about Revelation just a little, and I'm going to talk about Antichrist and a potential secondary thought that we could have, maybe a better focus. Is more to say. When we talk about Revelation, oftentimes we take it as a literal story of what is yet to come. However, from my extensive research into the book of Revelations, I am of the opinion that it has nothing to do with the future and more to do with the repeating of the past. In that the writer was talking about Romans and talking about Nero, and all of the things that were said in Revelations have come to pass, have happened. The people of God were persecuted, and this message of Revelations was a message of hope for them. Also, there is the Antichrist, an introduction to a character that we have definitely raised up higher sometimes than even God. This person that's going to bring in Satan on earth. And this person's supposed to be very, very energetic and loving. Like, everyone just falls for this person. I believe the Antichrist has come quite a few times in this world. This Antichrist has brought forth deep, deep sorrow and gnashing of teeth and horrible things. I believe that it's very possible that Hitler was an antichrist in that he brought very bad things, but at the same time, it was brought on by our own hubris and our own need to get what we wanted. In other, like World War I, I don't know if you all know this history, probably not. I hear it every year because I am a sub and I go through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade all at once every single year, and we talk about Hitler in social studies. Social studies in Hitler is that after World War I, basically everyone who won the war, decided that Germany was the fault for all of it. All of it. And we decided that they were going to pay for all the damage. Their damage, our damage, all of it. The problem being, there was absolutely no way that Germany was going to be able to do that. And it made Germany angry. And they wanted someone who was going to fix it. Hitler. Hitler promised to fix it. He promised to make Germany great. And he decided to put all the ails of the world on a group of people. Not only the Jews, but those who had a different sexual orientation, those who were that were gypsies of the Romanish population. That one, I shouldn't have said it. I knew it when the moment it was starting to come out of my mouth. Those are people that Hitler focused on and ended up killing a large portion of them with the help of the German people. And that is a story for another day. Needless to say, when we talk about the Antichrist, we build that up to a godly-like stature. But what we don't talk about is the potential for an anti-Satan. I say this term not as something that anyone has ever heard before, but one that I have coined myself when I was thinking about two characters in particular, Moses and John the Baptist. Both of these characters, one in the Hebrew Bible and one in the New Testament, both of them usher in God in some way. They bring about a new world for the people they have come to speak to. When it comes to Moses, he is a person of the Egyptians, someone that the Egyptians know and will listen to, and he speaks about freeing the Israelites. And it is in the Israelites being in the wilderness that God is with them. God is in their space. God resides with them. And that happens through being the opposite of all the things that are wrong in the world. He stands up to the very people that he used to trust him and love him and says, "You're wrong." John the Baptist was a person who was a priest, was in the priestly line. I don't know if he was actually ordained a priest. I don't know if that happened, but I know that he was more than likely in training. And he stood up to what was wrong in the Hebrew world at the time, namely that the priesthood had turned to the Roman government instead of to the people. They had started taking the scripture too literally and were forgetting why the scripture was written. As in, there's laws, but there's reason behind the laws. And if you lose the reason behind the laws, then the laws can become weapons. And that's what was happening in this world. So John steps up. He names what is wrong to the people who are doing it wrong. And in both cases, neither of them are God. And it's easy for us to see that. It's easy for us to say they are not God. But for some reason, it's really hard to do the opposite. When we see these antichrists, the ones that bring us into darkness, the ones that tear the world apart, it's really hard not to put the full Satan name on it. They're antichrist. They must be Satan. That is such a wrong train of thought. But the The reason I bring both of these up is because they happen all the time. This isn't some epic event that brings forth heaven on earth one time or hell on earth one time. These are events, and they happen all the time. We are constantly in a place where we can either listen to an antichrist or an anti-Satan. And we are always in a place where the anti-Satan, because of things that are happening in the world, always sound better, always feel better, are always the easier choice than the anti-Satan. It was not an easy choice to go with John. It was not an easy choice to go with Moses. I happen to remember that the Israelites, once they got to the wilderness, started grumbling and said, you know what? It's easier to be a slave. That's the point, is that we tend to go for the easiest thing, and the easiest thing is often the thing that's not good for us. Like, for example, just to throw out an example here, it is easier for me during lunch to just go pick something up and bring it home. Is that better for me, though? No. It's better for me to go make my lunch with fresh vegetables and fruits and a little bit of protein and do that. It's easier for me to not be bombarded with all the needs that my children have. It's easier for me to negate what's going on, to just say, I can't handle it, and then I'm comfortable, but their lives are terrible. It's harder to be a good parent. It's harder to hear what they need and give them what they need, not what they want. And it's harder to walk that line of knowing what they want and what they need and when those things overlap. This is where we're at. We're at the point where we either need to focus in on an antichrist or an anti-Satan. And it's not some magical person. It's not some person that was begotten of God. It's a normal, everyday person that bleeds just like us, that lives just like us, and will die just like us. But we choose to give which one power. So in this world today, as we see the conflict on either side, and both sides have conflict, sorry, it's true. You're not special because you think that your side's the only one with conflict. Both sides are struggling right now and trying to figure out what the world is. We need to find our anti-Satan, the one that is going to bring us closer to heaven on earth, not hell on earth. That's a difficult one. Can I tell you who is anti-Satan right now? No idea. No idea at all. It could be a random person that nobody knows yet. It could be someone no one will know, because we're going to get so caught up in who Antichrist is that we won't even listen to an anti-Satan. Do we know who Antichrist is yet? Maybe, maybe not. This is not something that we should focus too much attention on, because if we keep focusing on that, then we forget that there is something good and righteous and right in this world. There is something worth building. There is something worth redeeming. If we can't focus on what's worth redeeming, then what in the world is the point? Focusing on revelation isn't about giving up and letting the world burn. Focusing on revelation is realizing that the world continued and that we as a people of God have a purpose to be God's hands and feet in this world, to see all of God's creation, not just the side that we want to focus on or the side that is easiest. We have some hard choices. We have some communal sins to break. And that's going to take work and a little bit of trust and a whole lot of strength. I'm here. I always have been, giving pretty much the same message for a decade now, even when it really wasn't a message anyone wanted to hear at the time. But now it is. I hate that. Believe me, I hate that. I don't want to be giving messages that I'll be honest. Actually, I always am honest. I hate that phrase. When I started this a decade ago and I felt called to share a message of let's give up our comfort and focus on what's hard. Let's go to the wilderness together. There was a big part of me that wanted to be wrong. There was a big part of me that wanted to be completely off base, that everything was headed in the right direction and I just couldn't see it. And I actually prayed to God that what I was doing, like, do I really have to give this message? And yes, I did feel like I needed to give that message. And if you look at previous videos, maybe they mean more now. Maybe the messages I gave 8 years have more value now than they did then. And maybe that is important as well. But I am not here to just be doom and gloom. And I can finally talk about hope, because I felt when I talked about hope 8 years ago, I was talking 8, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, that it was being misrepresented. Like, hope 11 years ago was so empty and vacuous because no one thought they needed it. They all were living the good life. Well, I say that all, I don't mean all, but many thought that they were living the good life and everything was right in the world. And I have hope in Jesus. And it was such an empty phrase that I didn't like using it. I didn't like talking about hope back then, even though I believed there was a hope, but I didn't believe the hope was in what we were doing in that moment. I believed the hope was far in the future, so oftentimes I didn't talk about hope. But now I think we can start to get it. We can start to understand that we can set our sights forward on something good and right and just. We can redeem something, that we are not trying to destroy the world, but to build it back up again. That we can hear Christ in the future, not in the now, because Christ is ahead of us, like the Israelites followed God with the smoke in the wilderness. So too, we must follow Christ to where we should be, where we are going to. God is ahead of us, God is with us. God is with us, but God is also ahead of us, and we must continue to walk towards God in order to be with God. We are walking with God. And if we stay here, then there is no hope. But if we go, if we head out, then there is all the hope in the world. That's where we're at. That we can see something good. We're not getting stuck because, oh my goodness, I hear so many people talk about how horrible the world is and about how terrible everything is. You can't change now. What has happened has happened. What has gone on in this world has gone on. We can't take back any of it. All of it is done. But we can act now. We can do things now. We can walk towards things now. Those are places that we have power. We have agency. And if we make the choice now, we make the choice of what our future is going to be. And I want it to be good for my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids. I want to trust that God has a plan for us still. And I want to walk towards that life, not the one that's stuck in the past or stuck in the now. I'm living for the future. I hope you have a great week. I hope your world is filled with Opportunity. That's the word I want you to think about this week. Opportunity. Where are we going? And how do we get there? As always, go in peace.